The age-old question, what is better, PC or console? Which one is the best for gaming? What are the advantages and disadvantages of one over the other? Which one is the best for you, and most importantly, which one is the best overall? Today we are going to take a deep dive on this topic, so bring out your pitchforks and let's begin. So the first category, and to some people this might be the most important one, is the price. Which one is more affordable? And when we talk about categories, we talk a lot about pros and cons, but not this time. The winner here is the console. Straight up, it is cheaper, it will last a long time, and it will get a lot of updates, and most of the games you manage to download on it will play just fine. So this win goes to console. And before you start talking about the used market and buying some older hardware for computers, well, if you buy a used PS4 which can still manage to play a lot of good titles, the PC still loses. That's not to say that PCs are expensive. Actually, for the past few years they have gotten cheaper. Maybe cheaper isn't the best word to use, but the prices are not like they were during the pandemic. That time is finally over. But now let's talk about ease of use. After all, we are not talking about just hardcore gamers. We are talking about gamers in general. We are talking about all the fathers out there that only have a couple of hours a week for gaming. A minute of silence for all the poor souls. May their souls rest in heaven. Well, let's just say that those people don't have time to tweak their settings. They don't have time to open and launch several apps just so they can play games. They don't have time to see if their system can handle the games they want. They want to sit down, see what games they like, buy it and play it. It's as simple as that. But if you are someone that wants to take advantage of every setting, you might be someone who likes to play FPS games. Well, let's just say that PCs are not limited like consoles are. You can do whatever you want with a PC. Want more FPS? You can do that. If you want to play games at 4K without any fancy software optimization technology, well, you can do that with a computer. You are not sure if you want to play with a controller or a mouse and keyboard? Well, you can always buy a PC and decide later. Or better yet, use whatever you want with whatever game you want. The options are limitless. But then again, this is for the hardcore players. This is for the players who don't mind tweaking with the settings a bit. Players that want to enjoy their game to the fullest. And unfortunately, that is not everybody. So this is a tough decision. And in the beginning, I was thinking there aren't many hardcore players, so this win should go to the consoles easily. Because the majority always wins. After all, we are a democracy in this channel. But I did some research around this topic, and it turns out that the winner is the computer, because the number of hardcore players has increased over the years, so much that in the future we might even be the majority. Let's keep working towards that. Let's unite. By the way, the winner is the computer, and I know that the console is easier to start using, but the PC, if you spend a couple of minutes in the settings, you might be surprised of how much more easier and enjoyable the game will be. Now, when we get to the third category, things get complicated because we are talking about performance, and this is complicated because there are two simple answers that people have. One group says that the computer has more performance. They are like, get an RTX 4090 and Core i9 latest generation, and voila, no console ever made can beat that. But the other group has an even simpler answer. They are like, buy a computer with a good monitor, high quality mouse and a keyboard with a $500 budget, and then run games at 4K. Can you do that? But since the communities can't decide, I will. Like I said before, we are a democracy here, and the majority still to this day uses the RTX 3060 mostly. So let's compare the regular PS5 to the performance of the RTX 3060. And in first glance, it feels like the PC has the edge here. After all, it has more performance, not to mention that the RTX GPU has better ray tracing and even has DLSS. But you couldn't be more wrong. The answer is not as simple as that. It never is, because the console is a lot more optimized. It might not have fancy tricks, but it optimizes the shit out of games. You just can't get the same level of optimization on a computer because there are millions of computer combinations, but there are so little few console models. So the game developers develop games and optimize them for consoles. And even though the PC has more pure power, the console will always outperform it in games. So the win goes to consoles. Keep in mind that I know that there are 500 FPS displays that you can only take advantage if you play on a computer, and there are a lot of similar crazy stuff just like that, but that is the minority, and that's why the PC can't take this win this time around. There is something else that I want to talk about, and that is multiplayer friendliness. I want to talk about this because I see that nobody else is talking about this, so this will be the fourth category, the multiplayer experience, and the PC has quite a bit of advantages, from having multiple apps to choose from spectrum when chatting live with your friends to buying a microphone and setting up everything perfectly. But the console just gives you a different feeling of coziness. I don't know if that's a real word, but you feel cozy when you are playing on console. I think the reason is because you don't have to worry about different apps. Everything just works, and after that people on consoles also have a lot more things to talk about. You know, they have the same platform, they use the same apps, they get excited about the same exact next gen console. It gives you a different sense of community. Just so we are clear, the PC community is the same in many regards, but the PC community feels like we get excited more about computers and what they are able to do compared to console users who are excited over the games that they can play with that exact console. And let's not start talking about playing with your friends together in the same room. You will have a completely different experience with a console, a vastly superior experience. This category goes to consoles. The main reason for this category existing is because the number of multiplayer games is increasing and the number of people who only play multiplayer games is increasing also. So here you have it. The next topic we need to discuss immediately is the exclusive games. Games that you can only play on one platform and not the other. Now the difference there for some time was becoming smaller and smaller each passing year, and now Microsoft doesn't seem to care as much about exclusive games, and on the Sony side they are publishing more and more Sony exclusive titles on PC. But it was like that. Now Sony still has a lot of incredible exclusive games. It is true that Sony will probably release them on PC, but that will always take quite a bit of time. So most hardcore players, if they want exclusive PlayStation games, the better choice for you is the console. Now Sony is not the only company that does things this way. I was only talking about it as an example because let's face it, Nintendo is quite a bit worse than Sony, and by quite a bit I mean a lot worse. But I think now more than ever console companies are relying on exclusive titles. For example, GTA 6 will only be available in consoles when it launches, and believe me, that is a big title. It might be the most anticipated game ever, and if you want to play it on release you will have to settle for a console. That is not to say that the PC doesn't have exclusive titles. Actually, a game that I enjoy playing called Albion Online is not available on consoles, and a lot of indie titles are not available on consoles, so the majority of games are only playable on computers. But if you put a console and a PC on a scale, PC might have the upper hand on quantity, but the console has a lot of quality titles. And I hate to admit this, but we will have to give this win to consoles. Shit, the GTA 6 news hits hard on this category. By the way, if you enjoyed the video, do consider subscribing right now because we are running out of good topics to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all going to go downhill from here, but we will still talk about it. The category that every PC nerd likes to brag about is customization, and that is not to say that consoles are not customizable. They are. You can change a lot of things in consoles and customize it to your needs. You can change the panels. Yes, you can do that. And you can even change the... what else can you change? You can even change the joystick skins. Oh, and if you really want to spice things up, you can put the PlayStation sometimes in horizontal position and sometimes in vertical positions. That's some crazy stuff right there. But we need to agree that the PC has a bit more options, and by a bit I mean so much more choices. You can make a setup around games looking good with crazy GPUs and crazy displays, or you can go the other route and play FPS games where you can reach over 500 FPS and the PC will still be able to display it. And I am just scratching the surface here. No joke, you can do everything, even use weird tools or equipments that are designed for one game and make that experience unforgettable and enjoyable. Like just talking about all the weird and funky but amazing tools you can use on a computer will take months, probably years, but you get the idea. To no one's surprise, the computer takes the win this time. Now let's talk about quality of life improvements, which is a category that I might have made up myself, and the reason for that is that there are so many little things that we don't think about, but they add up rather quickly. Let's go over them. First, owning your games and actually being able to play them. Now, owning games isn't true for any of the platforms out there, but the PC does a way better job at it. Realistically speaking, if you buy a game on PC, on Steam, even after 15 years of that game being launched and 5 gaming PCs later, you will still be able to play that game on the new PC. On consoles, sometimes you get lucky and the games are backwards compatible, sometimes you don't get lucky and those aren't backwards compatible, so you aren't able to play them on your new consoles. The hardware changes so much between consoles generations that the optimization, that was a bonus in the past, comes back to bite them in the ass right now. Second, storage upgrades. Now, it's not as big of a problem because you can easily upgrade storages in consoles also, but on PC you can put pretty much whatever storage you have. But for consoles it has to be more specific, but you can still do that at least. Third, software problems. This win easily goes to consoles, and the reason is simple. Every console is the same. If you have a problem, in turn everybody has the exact same problem as you, so that means millions of users have that problem, and that problem will get fixed by the developers immediately. But the PC is not as simple. Maybe the problem is caused by you and your weird parts combinations, and not many people have that problem, so the developers don't have to fix your problem and you are not the priority. That means that your problem might take even years to fix. Fourth is upgradability. I know that most people want to have this as a standalone category, but not me. Let me explain. You don't need to upgrade things on your console. That's because of how different they are. But still, if you want that slight edge and you don't have that much more money, you can always slightly upgrade your PC. Fifth on the list, hardware problems. Let's face it, we are human. Sometimes we break stuff, not on purpose, but it happens. And if we break something, we want to fix it. Usually we don't have enough money to replace it completely. And when it comes to repairability for computers, even if you break an essential part, you can just replace that specific part. But on consoles, since everything is so tightly integrated together, you simply just can't do that. It's much more harder to replace parts in consoles, so this win goes to PCs, and this whole category goes to PCs. It just has some quality of life improvements that the console just can't match. Now we are heading to the last bit of the video, and this might or might not be a category depending on how you use your system. And that category is multitasking. Let's face it, you can use your gaming PC for everything. You might do a job that requires a computer. Well, a gaming PC can do that. You can do whatever you want on your gaming PC. If you want to edit videos professionally, you can do that. Anything that can be done online, you can try to do that. And that is something that the console doesn't offer. But this is a category only if you use your PC to do other stuff besides gaming. So if you do that, even though counting the wins and losses they seem equal, the PC wins, because the loss category has a lot of importance. But wait, this video is about which one is best for gaming. Emphasis on the gaming. So if we take the loss category out of the equation, since it's not gaming related, I guess the console wins. Who would have guessed that a machine that is made to run everything loses to a machine that is designed specifically for gaming in mind in a gaming competition? With that said, keep in mind that I love computers. I use computers religiously, but in this category I think that consoles take the win. And with that in mind, if you like the video, like, comment and subscribe. Bye!